You got the feeling, I know you're there. You got the feeling, I know you're there. You got the feeling, I know you're there. You got the feeling.
Hello, and welcome back to the Laughing Goblins. We're your hosts, Holly
and Bon.
We do apologize for this pause in Laughing Goblin episodes. A lot of things have happened in our families and lives, and we're just back to be here and discussing the Inferno because last week and by we, I mean I, got held hostage by a certain Bon talking about their special interest, which was one painting
and an artist.
And the artist that created it, yes. But usually here on the Laughing Goblins, we read literature, roast mythology, and, make fun of things.
Yes.
Previously, in the Inferno, we took a piggyback ride on the creature known as Garyon. We have now, finally, after what seems like forever, and again, sorry for the wait, have finished said piggyback ride and find ourselves in a place in hell called Malebolge. And the canto opens with a description of this place. There is a place in hell called Malebolge, cut out of stone the color of iron ore, just like the circling cliff that walls it in. Right at the center of this evil plain, there yawns a very wide, deep well, whose structure I will talk of when the place itself is reached. That belt of land remaining then runs round between the well and cliff, and all this space is divided into 10 descending valleys, just like a ground plan for successive moats that in concentric circles bind their center and serve to protect the ramparts of the castle. This was the surface image they presented, and as bridges from a castle's portal stretch from moat to reach that farthest bank, so from the great cliff's base jut spokes of rock, crossing from bank to bank, intersecting ditches until the pit's hub cuts them off from meeting. This is the place in which we found ourselves, once shaken from the back of Garyon. The poet turned to the left. I walked behind him. There, on our right, I saw new suffering souls, new means of torture, and new torturers, crammed into the depths of the first ditch. 2 files of naked souls walked on the bottom. The ones on our side faced us as they passed. The others moved as we did, but more quickly. So apparently, these are 2 different groups of sinners, one walking sort of one way and the other walking the other way.
Yes.
In the same.
And they're also looking at a bunch of valleys and rocks. Yay, another author that looked at rocks. I was just talking about Tolkien the other day.
This isn't Tolkien. If it was Tolkien, we'd spend 60 pages on these
rocks. True.
Instead, it's just 6 sentences. That's a lot more bearable.
True. The Romans, too, in the year of the Jubilee, took measure to accommodate the throngs that had to come and go across the bridge. They fixed it so on one side all were looking at the castle and were walking to St. Peter's. On the other, they were moving toward the mount. On both sides, up along the deadly rock, I saw horned devils with enormous whips, lashing the backs of shades with cruel delight. Ah, how they made them skip and lift their heels at the very first crack of the whip. Not one of them dared pause to take a second or a third. As I walked on, my eyes met with the glance of one down there. I murmured to myself, I know this face from somewhere, I am sure. And so I stopped to study him more closely.
But what does it say about Dante that he knows so many people down in the Inferno? Dante just knows people. I mean, again, he's the writer, and he's purposely putting his people into. But if he hadn't done that, if this was like somehow fiction, can you imagine just being like, holy shit, I knew a lot of sinners.
Yeah. There's a lot of people.
How do I know so many people? Maybe I should have considered having different friends.
Maybe. So I stopped to study him more closely. My leader also stopped and was so kind as to allow me to retrace my steps. And that whipped soul thought he would hide from me by lowering his face, which did no good. I said, "Oh, you there! With your head so bent low, if features of your shade do not deceive me, you are..." And here's another name that Bonbon cannot pronounce. Benedico
Kasha,
Kasha.
I think. Katya. Venedico Kachenemiko. Sounds like a tongue twister.
It does. Sir, who named you this horrible name?
It's very Italian.
It's like, why? I'm sure. How did you get yourself in such a pickle? He knew you, Dante, that's how. I'm not so keen on answering, he said, but I feel I must. Your plain talk is compelling. It makes me think of old times in the world. I was the one they coat Isabella to serve the lusty wishes of the Marquis. No matter how the sordid tale is told, I'm not the only Polonese weeps here. Hardly! This place is packed with us. In fact, there are more of us than there are living tongues. Wow, your family is quite big. If that's the case, okay. Between Savenia and Reno, Sipa, I call on your own memory as witness. Remember, we have capacious hearts. I can read.
Avaricious.
I cannot read.
It has been a minute. Okay. Just at that point, a devil let him have the feeling of his tailed whip and cried, "Move on, you pimp! You can't cash in on women here!"
Oh, hi! We have reached lust again.
No, this is people that are pimping women out, not like women that were maybe a little prostitute-y.
No, they live higher up. These people live further down.
I turned and hurried to rejoin my guide. We walked a few more steps, and then we reached the rocky bridge that juts out from the bank. We had no difficulty climbing up, and turning right along the jagged ridge, we left those shades to their eternal circlings. When we were where the ditch yawned wide below the ridge to make a passage for the scourged, my guide said, "Stop and stand where you can see these other misbegotten souls whose faces you could not see before, for they were moving in the same direction we were over there." So from this ancient bridge, we viewed the train that hurried towards us along the other track and kept moving like the first by stinging whips. And the good master, without my asking him, said, "Look at that imposing one approaching, who does not shed a single tear of pain. What majesty he still maintains down there. He is Jason, who by courage and sharp wits fleeced the Colchians of their golden rams." Oh, this is Jason of Jason and the Argonauts, another member of the Greek mythos.
Of course, what do you expect? Gordon Ramsay.
Later traveled through the Isle of Lemnos, whose bold and heartless females earlier had slaughtered every male upon the island. Go for them! Go, heartless females! Slaughter the men!
And while Holly is slaughtering people, we shall
I
continue.
can't slaughter people. We've established, I feel, that I am the golden retriever. You're the black cat.
Sure. There, with his words of love and loving looks, he succeeded in deceiving young, I can't pronounce Greek either, Hypsipyle. Hypsipyle? I don't know that person.
Hypsipyle?
Hypsipyle?
Maybe that is a strange spelling. We apologize.
For the Greeks and to the Italians, we cannot pronounce your...
We're trying. We are trying.
Who had in turn deceived the other women. Okay. He left her there with child all alone. Such sin condemns him to such punishment, and Medea too gets her revenge on him. With him go all deceiving of this type, and let this be enough to know concerning the first valley and the souls locked in its jaws. We were already where the narrow ridge began to cross the second bank to make it another abutment for another ditch arc. And now we could hear the shades in the next pouch whispering, making snorting, grunting sounds, and sounds of blows, slapping with open palms from a steaming stench below. The bank were coated with a slimy mold that stuck to them like glue. Disgusting. Thank you. To behold, and worse to smell. Yeah, sir, that sounds horrible to smell and horrible to behold. The bottom was so hollowed out of sight. We saw it only when we climbed the arch and looked down from the bridge highest point. There we were from another, and I stood and I saw souls in the ditch plunge into excrement. Wonderful, Dante. That might well have been flesh from our latrines. My eyes were searching hard along the bottom, and I saw somebody's head so smirched with shit. You could not tell if he were priest or layman.
Once again, throwing priests into hell.
Well, we don't know if he's a priest or a layman because his head is covered in shit, right?
Well, it's insinuating that
he could be a priest.
He could be a priest.
You're right.
Covered in shit. Which,
thank you.
And nobody would have liked. And you wonder how such a well-liked man in modern day got kicked out of Florence back in the 1300s. Well, this is how.
Yeah. Dante, you're not making a good solid case for staying in Florence.
He shouted up, "Why do you feast your eyes on me more than these other beasts?" And
Beast.
I
Stop chewing the book.
Yes, please. Pardon the cat-related interruption. Go back.
No.
He shouted up, "Why do you feast your eyes on me more than these other beasts?" And I replied, "Because, remembering well, I've seen you with your hair dry once or twice." Okay, so what was that about not knowing if he was a priest or a layman? Like,
I saw you with your hair dry.
I do know you. I know you with dry hair.
Not covered in this moist excrement from our own latrine.
Okay, so who is this? You are Alessio Intermine from Lucca. That's why I stare at you more than the rest. So the Intermine family were prominent members of the White Party, the White Guelphs. Not a lot is known about Alessio directly. We knew he exists because his name is found in historical documents, but like, who was he? What did he do?
No paintings. This is going to be fun.
Well, maybe. Again, it just says not much is known. It doesn't say we don't know what he looked like. It just says not much is known.
Okay. Well, if there's a painting, you will see it on the screen now.
He beat his slimy forehead as he answered, I am stuck down here by all those flatteries that rolled unceasing off my tongue up there. What? He finished speaking, and my guide began.
I liked it when he walked on his eyes earlier.
So he's down in hell because he couldn't shut up?
Yeah. Well, remember, the circle of fraud, so maybe he couldn't stop lying.
Oh, right. He finished speaking, and my guide began, lean out a little more, look hard down there so you can get a good look at the face of that repulsive, disheveled tramp.
Thank you, Virgil.
Scratching herself with shitty fingernails, spreading her legs while squatting up and down. It is Thais, the whore, who gave this answer to her lover when he asked, am I very worthy of your thanks? Very, nay, incredibly so. So this is not actually a person, but apparently a character in a play. So now Dante is throwing random characters in books.
Well, that's not true, because he also threw a lot of the people from Aeneid that Virgil wrote about in books, too. So he's been throwing people into books.
Well, it was, until now, I think it's been mainly people Virgil have referenced,
yeah,
or arguably
written about
Greek and Roman mythological.
And now we're having Italian literature.
Now we're having just a random character from a play.
Yay!
I think our eyes have had their fill of this. Me too. Oh, and that's the end of Canto 18.
Excellent, excellent.
And so now we go into Canto 19. Please tell us a little about Canto 19. Bon Bon.
A little bit about Canto 19. Well, from the bridge is the third Bolgia that can be seen from the rocky landscape below. So basically, we are going to meet a few people, like Nicholas III, who was a pope. He's going to predict that Pope Boniface and Clement the Fifth, Boniface. I'm pronouncing it Boniface. Sorry. Fine. Boniface. To me, it looked like Boniface. To me, I don't know. Pope Clement V will be stuffing from both himself deeper. I guess that makes no sense. And then he responds equally high language. I guess he's just arguing against popes now. So yeah, we're going to continue on. O Simon, Magnus, O scum that followed him, those things of God that rightly should well be wed to holiness, you rapacious creatures, for the price of gold and silver, prostitute, now in your honor I must sound my trumpet. For here in the third pouch is where you dwell. We had already climbed to see this tomb, and were standing high above it on the bridge, exactly at midpoint of the ditch. Oh, highest wisdom, how you demonstrate your art in heaven, on earth, and here in hell. How justly does your power make awards? I saw along the side on the bottom the livid color rock all full of holes. All were the same, and each was round. Isn't there like a phobia about that where like, people are afraid of many holes?
Yes.
This would be applicable here. To me, they seem no wider and no deeper than those inside my lovely San Giovanni, in which the priest would stand or baptize from. And one of these, not many years ago, I smashed for someone who was drowning in it. Let this be making picture of me of the truth.
Okay.
So Simon the magician, having observed the descent of the Holy Spirit upon the apostles John and Peter, desired to purchase this power, the power that he's talking about in the beginning, for himself. Whereupon Peter heartily admonished him to even thinking that the gift of God might be brought from this sorcerer's name. The word simony refers to those offenses involving the sale or fraudulent possession of the ecclesiastical offices.
Okay. So, according to the source I'm finding, this is really Dante's first harsh critique of the church, this particular Canto, which is interesting because, again, it's not like he was very kind to them in earlier passages.
I mean, not at all. Like, he made fun of that one, what was it, Pope? That was, like, kind of not well at speaking.
Oh, that poor man.
Yes.
He was a priest.
Yeah.
He just wasn't very well liked.
Anyway.
But apparently did have sinfully erected nerves, which is still a delightful turn of phrase that I don't really know. Don't know what he means by it, but it's just delightful.
It's delightful, and we have to use it in everyday language now. I continue before I give it back to Holly. From the mouth of every hole was sticking out a single sinner's feet, and then the legs up to the calf rested. The rest was stuff inside. The soles of every singer's feet were flaming. So they were basically upside down candles, I guess. Their naked legs were twitching frenziedly. They would have broken any chain or rope.
That's dark.
In Inferno, we have the living men candles.
Just as a flame will only move along an object's oily outer peel, so here the fire slid from heel to toe and back. Wow. Who is that one, master? That angry wretch who is writhing more than any of his comrades? I asked. The one licked by a redder flame. And he to me, if you want to be carried down along that lower bank to where he is, you can ask him who he is and why he's here. And my pleasure is what pleases you. You are my lord. You know that from your will. I would not swerve. You even know my thoughts.
Wow.
Dante's gushing again.
Yes, he is. And not only does he's like, oh, you know me so well that you can predict my every
So
move.
apparently he does get carried by Virgil. We were making that as a joke. But Virgil just offered to carry him.
Apparently it was a joke wrapped in a memory. Wrapped in a dream.
When we reached the fourth bank, we began to turn and, keeping to the left, made our way down to the bottom of that hold and narrow ditch. The good guide did not drop me from his side until he brought me to the broken rock of that one who was fretting with his shanks. Whatever you are, holding your upside down, a wretched soul stuck like a stake in ground, make a sound or something, I said, if you can. I stood there like a priest who is confessing some vile assassin who, fixed in his ditch, has called him back again, put off dying. He cried, is that you here already upright? Is that you here? Already upright, Boniface? By many years the book has lied to me. Are you fed up so soon with all that wealth for which you did not fear to take by guile the lovely lady, then tear her asunder? So basically, Pope Boniface, who is Pope at the time of the writing of this,
Yes.
is very much still alive, but
Yes.
this shade has mistaken him for Pope Boniface and apparently knows that Boniface will end up in the Inferno.
Yes. He will end up in the Inferno. Definitely for all his misdeeds that Dante has listed.
It looks like Boniface VIII freely distributed ecclesiastical offices among his family and confidants,
Yeah.
like most popes of that day. As early as 1300, he was plotting the destruction of the Whites, the Florentine political faction to which Dante belonged. We are referring to, in this case, is the church.
Yes.
He has torn the church asunder.
He has. He has made it mingly. Then Virgil said, "Quick, hurry up and tell him I'm not the one you think." And I answered just the way he had told me to. The spirit heard and twisted both his feet, and then sighing a grieving, tearful voice, he said, "Oh, then, what do you want of me? If it concerns you to learn my name, that for this reason you came down the bank. No, I once was dressed in the great mantle, but actually I was the she-bear's son." The she-bear's son.
She-bear.
The she-bear's son, and referring
to
the reference to my cubs became Pope Nicholas III in 1277.
Okay.
So greedy to advance my cubs that wealth I pocketed in life, and here myself beneath my head are pushed down all the others who came sitting in simony before me. Squeezed tightly in the fizzles of the rock, I in my turn shall join the rest below as soon as he comes, the one I thought you were, when all too quick I put my question to you. But already my feet are baked a longer time, and I have been stuck upside down like this. Then he will stay here planted with feet aflame. After him shall come the west, a lawless shepherd, one whose feller deeds make him a fitting cover for us both. He shall be another Jason, like the one in Maccabees, just as his king was pliant, so Francis' king to this priest. Okay. Third is Clement V, who upon his death in 13 will join Nicholas and Boniface in eternal torment. Beautiful.
Another pope.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So apparently Jason was made Jewish at some point during his travels.
Okay.
But started introducing Greek modes of life into his community, whatever that means. So they basically thought he was a fraud. And they're saying that Clement is a fraud like Jason, and that's how he got his office of Pope, is by buying his way. But again, for these days, that wasn't that unusual.
Well, you remember, he doesn't like anything that has to do with the money being
True.
spent. Dante.
And he's not,
he's very anti-capitalist, basically.
Yes. Well, it does technically go against the way of the church to bribe your way into power, but
True.
As we know, power corrupts, and so does money, so.
Indeed.
I'm sorry, Dante, that you could not live to see the good place. You would have loved it. Anyways.
Maybe.
I do not know. Perhaps I was too bold here, but I answered him in tune with his own words. Well, tell me now, what was the sum of money that Holy Peter had to pay our Lord before he gave keys into his keeping? Certainly he asked no more than, "Follow me." Nor did Peter or the rest extort gold coins or silver from Matthias when he was picked to fill the place the evil one had lost. So stay stuck there, for you are rightly punished, and guard with care the money wrongly gained that made you stand courageous against Charles. And were it not for the reverence I have for the highest of all keys that you once held in the happy life, if this did not restrain me, I would use even harsher words than these, for your avarice brings grief upon the world, crushing the good, exalting the depraved. You shepherds it was the evangelist had in mind when the vision came of him to him of her who sits upon the waters, playing whore with kings. That one who with the 7 heads was born, and from her 10 horns managed to draw strength, so long as virtue was her bridegroom's joy. You have built yourselves a god of gold and silver. How do you differ from the idolater, except he worships one? You worship hundreds. So, short summary, apparently after Judas was cast out, the apostles voted for who would take his place. And Matthias was elected. And then St. John the Evangelist relates his vision of the desolate imperial city of Rome. To Dante, she who sits upon the waters represents the church, which has been corrupted by the
Simoniacal, yeah.
activities of many popes, the shepherds of the church. Okay, so.
Simony, yeah.
The 7 heads symbolize the 7 holy sacraments. The 10 horns represent the 10 commandments. Jesus Christ. This is him being nice out of respect for the papacy. He's like, I will be nice, but also, fuck you! You made a demon out of my church!
Yeah. Oh, Constantine, what evil did you sire? Not by conversion, but by the dower that the first wealthy father got from you. And while I sang these very notes to him, his big flat feet kicked fiercely out of anger. Or perhaps it was his conscience gnawing him. I think that my master liked what I was saying. Of course you do. Every time you scold somebody, you think Virgil likes it. For all the while, he smiled and was intent on hearing the ring of truly spoken words. Then he took hold of me with both his arms, and when he had me firm against his breast, he climbed back up the path he had come down. He did not tire of the weight clasped tight to him, but brought me to the top of the bridge's arc, one that joins the 4th bank to the 5th, and here he gently set his burden down, gently, for the ridge, so steep and rugged, would have been hard even for goats to cross. From there, another valley opened to me. And so ends Canto 19.
Fun times.
Of course,
we're out of this valley.
And of course, Constantine is Constantine, the great emperor of Rome. We all know him. We don't have to go into him unless we want to. And
that's it for today.
That's it for today.
Thank you for joining us. You can find us on social media. I'm at Holly Dermavoy.
I'm at Blank Esquire.
Please consider joining our Patreon, where you can be a cat wizard or a frog mage.
Or a cat mage and a frog wizard.
Whichever. It's been so long.
You can join us on TikTok and Spotify. We're the Laughing Goblins.
For business inquiries, please reach out to thelaughinggoblins@gmail.com.
And we would like to thank our Patreon members,
of which there is still one. But thank you anyways. We love you.
We love you. Anyway.
Join us next time as we continue further into the Inferno and eventually get to Holly's second special interest episode.
Bye!
Bye!